Sure, here is an **800 word expanded version of the key point discipline over motivation, **, in the tone and style of **, Priyanka Chopra **, direct, powerful, and deeply personal. People often say they need motivation to get started. They wait for the right mood, the perfect moment, the burst of inspiration that will push them into action. But let me tell you something I've learned the hard way, through years of waking up in hotel rooms across continents, stepping into make-up chairs before sunrise, and rehearsing lines when the world was asleep. **, motivation is a luxury. Discipline is the necessity. **, motivation is that spark, sure, it can light a fire under you for a day or two, but discipline is what keeps the fire burning when the spark dies out. It's the habit that keeps you going when you're tired, when you're uninspired, when you're doubting yourself. Discipline shows up even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. There have been countless mornings in my life when I've opened my eyes and wished I could hit snooze. When I wished I could skip the gym, delay the flight, pass on the meeting, but I got up anyway, not because I was motivated. Trust me, I wasn't. I got up because I had made a commitment to myself, and when you commit to something larger than your comfort, that's where discipline is born. When I was crowned Miss World at 18, I didn't magically wake up successful. I was young, overwhelmed, and not entirely sure of what I was doing. What kept me moving wasn't always passion. It was consistency. It was discipline. I showed up every day, willing to learn, willing to work harder than I did the day before. Whether I was filming in freezing temperatures or flying halfway across the world for one interview, I learned to show up for my goals even when my feelings didn't align. Here's the truth that people don't like to say out loud: feelings are fickle. Some days you'll feel confident, energized, excited. Other days you'll feel exhausted, afraid, even defeated. If your success depends on your mood, you'll never reach the top. But if your success depends on your discipline, on your decision to keep going, you'll find yourself breaking barriers you never imagined. Think about it this way: a motivated person shows up when it's easy. A disciplined person shows up when it's hard. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. It's a choice you make over and over again, even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching. For me, discipline meant missing out on parties, skipping vacations, and sometimes working through heartbreak or jet lag. It meant turning down easy roles for ones that challenged me. It meant long hours, endless rehearsals, and pushing my limits again and again. People see the magazine covers and the red carpets. They don't see the 4 a.m. call times, the nights spent memorizing scripts, the rejections, the criticisms, the tears behind closed doors. But that's what discipline builds: resilience. And discipline doesn't just make you strong, it makes you unstoppable. When you trust yourself to follow through, no matter what, you stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You stop needing validation. You take control. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dream but does. The kind of person who doesn't wait for things to happen ***. You make them happen ***. One thing I've always believed is that you can't control your circumstances, but you can control your response. You can't always feel motivated, but you can always choose to be disciplined. That's where your power lies, in the tiny, unglamorous choices you make every single day. Do I sleep in or do I train? Do I scroll or do I study? Do I doubt or do I try? Each of those moments, they count. They add up. They become your reality. You see, the 4 a.m. mind set isn't about being some superhero. It's about honoring the promises you make to yourself when no one is looking. It's about getting real with yourself, cutting the excuses, and owning your path. And discipline is your most loyal ally on that journey. I've had moments when everything felt too hard, when the pressure was crushing, when I questioned whether I could really keep going. But in those moments I always came back to the same thing: put one foot in front of the other, keep moving, stay consistent, trust the work. Discipline has taught me to embrace discomfort, to find peace in the process, and to build a life that isn't dependent on external highs. It has given me the freedom to take risks, to evolve, and to chase dreams that once felt impossible. Because when you train yourself to keep showing up, no matter what, you unlock a kind of strength that nothing and no one can take away from you. So, if you're waiting for motivation to come knocking, stop. It's unreliable. Build discipline instead. Make it your foundation, your fuel, your signature. Be the person who gets up, shows up, and never backs down, not because it's easy, but because you've made the decision to own your story And when you do that, trust me, you won't just be motivated. You'll be unstoppable. We live in a world obsessed with results. We celebrate the wins, the headlines, the success stories. We cheer when someone stands on a podium, when they sign the big deal, when they walk that red carpet in a designer gown. But let me tell you a truth that most people never talk about. The real work, the hardest, most important work, happens far from the spotlight. It happens in silence, in solitude. It happens when no one is clapping, and that's where greatness is made. The work no one sees is the foundation of everything. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the constant practice, the small sacrifices that seem invisible to the world but essential to you. I know this because I've lived it. For every role I've played, for every step I've taken forward, there's a mountain of effort behind it that nobody will ever see. The missed birthdays, the hours in vocal training, the workouts at dawn when my body just wanted to rest. The auditions I didn't get, the scripts I read over and over until they felt like part of my soul. People often tell me I'm lucky, and sure, I've been fortunate in many ways, but luck doesn't wake you up at 4 a.m. Luck doesn't memorize 100 pages of dialogue. Luck doesn't push you through a 16-hour shoot in the sun. That's not luck, that's labor, that's the unseen grind, and the truth is we're all drawn to the outcome, but the outcome is just the surface. The real transformation happens underneath. It's like an iceberg. What people see is just a fraction of what's really there. The rest, the part that holds everything up, is submerged, hidden. That's the discipline. The repetition, the pain, the doubt, the resilience, that's the work no one sees. But it's also the most powerful kind of work because it belongs to you. It's where your character is built. It's where your craft is sharpened. It's where you become who you're meant to be, and if you skip that part, if you only show up for the applause, you'll never have the strength to sustain success, because success is never just about reaching the top. It's about staying there. It's about evolving, and that takes constant, invisible effort. I remember when I was just starting out, before Miss World, before Bollywood, before Hollywood. There were days when it felt like no one was paying attention. Like I was putting in all this effort and nothing was happening, but I didn't stop. I kept preparing, kept learning, kept pushing, because I believed something was being built even if it wasn't visible yet. And I've carried that belief with me throughout my life, that the seeds you plant in the dark will eventually bloom in the light. You don't need an audience to do your best work. You need intention. You need integrity. Because when you train yourself to perform even when no one's watching, you become unshakable. You're not performing for approval. You're performing for purpose, and that's where true excellence begins. The work no one sees also teaches you humility. It reminds you that you're always a student, that no matter how far you go, there's always more to learn. I've acted in multiple languages across different cultures, and every time I step onto a new set, I know I have to earn that space again. I don't walk in thinking I've made it. I walk in ready to prove again and again that I deserve to be there. That attitude doesn't come from confidence. It comes from preparation, quiet, relentless preparation. And let's be honest, this kind of work is not glamorous. It's not about Instagram stories or viral moments. It's the 20th take of the same scene. It's rewriting lines until they feel real. It's fixing your posture in a mirror until you get it just right. It's setting an alarm to run lines before sunrise while the rest of the world sleeps. It's boring, it's repetitive, but it's necessary and it's sacred, because the people who succeed in life are not the ones who only show up when the lights are on. They're the ones who do the work when no one's around. They're the ones who practice the speech 100 times in an empty room, who rehearse the dance until their muscles scream, who write, revise, delete, and write again, who stay behind after everyone else has left, who fail quietly and still keep going. That's where greatness lives, not in the moment you're recognized, but in the thousands of moments when you weren't. So if you're working hard right now and no one seems to notice, keep going. If you're showing up every day and it feels like no one sees you, don't stop, because that work, that quiet, invisible work is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine, and one day when your moment comes, and it will, you'll be ready, not because you were lucky, but because you earned it, in the dark, in the quiet, in the grind no one saw but you. Keep going, that's where the magic is. There's something I've learned over the years, something that's shaped every bold choice I've ever made. Normal is overrated. The world will try to box you in. It will hand you a checklist of what you should do, how you should behave, who you should be. Go to school, get a stable job, play it safe, don't make too much noise. And if you start to step out of line, people get uncomfortable. They'll ask, why can't you just be normal? But let me ask you, what has normal ever created that was extraordinary? I didn't come this far by being normal. I came this far by being different, by being difficult, by being disruptive. Every time I said yes to something that scared me, every time I walked into a room where I didn't quite fit, every time I chose the road that didn't guarantee approval, I was saying no to normal, and that no is exactly what shaped me. When I started my career, I wasn't what people expected. I didn't look like everyone else. I didn't talk like everyone else. I didn't always fit the mold of what a leading lady was supposed to be, but I didn't let that stop me. I didn't want to be just another face in the crowd. I wanted to own my difference, to turn it into my superpower, and I'm telling you, so can you, because here's the truth, saying no to normal is saying yes to yourself. It's saying yes to your voice, your ideas, your dreams that maybe don't make sense to anyone else yet. It's saying yes to something bigger than comfort. It's saying yes to freedom. People often associate normal with safety, with acceptance, with not rocking the boat. But what they don't tell you is that playing it safe comes at a cost. When you settle into someone else's definition of who you should be, you shrink. You silence the boldest parts of yourself. You trade your fire for familiarity. I've had to push against that again and again. When I transitioned from Bollywood to Hollywood, people questioned it. They thought I should stick to what I knew, to where I was already established. But I wasn't interested in staying where I was comfortable. I was interested in growing, in breaking barriers. I didn't leave behind a successful career because I was bored. I did it because I believed there was more. And yes, it was hard. Yes, it came with rejection and uncertainty, but it also came with evolution. It came with becoming more of who I am, and here's the thing about normal, it doesn't challenge you. It doesn't ask you to rise, it asks you to settle. But the people who do something meaningful with their lives don't settle. They take risks, they disrupt, they bet on themselves. Every time you say no to normal, you say no to being limited by what's been done before. You say no to the belief that there's only one way to succeed, and you say no to the idea that your path has to look like anyone else's. There's a reason why visionaries, artists, trailblazers often seem crazy at first. Because they see things differently, they refuse to follow the script they were written, and the world may not understand it right away. But that's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be true. You're here to build something so uniquely yours that the world has to catch up. Even now, I constantly ask myself, am I doing this because it's safe, or because it's true to me? If the answer is safety, I challenge it. Because safety rarely leads to transformation. It's in the unknown, the untested, the unconventional. That's where magic lives. That's where you discover your edge. And let me be clear, saying no to normal isn't about being rebellious for the sake of it. It's not about being different just to stand out. It's about being authentic. It's about making choices that align with your highest vision, not someone else's expectations. It might be uncomfortable. People might criticize you, doubt you, or even walk away. But that's the price of becoming something more than what you were told you could be. That's the cost of living on your own terms. And once you taste that kind of freedom, once you start building your life from your truth instead of society's template, you'll never want to go back. The world needs more people who are willing to take that risk. Who are willing to say, I don't want normal, I want meaningful, I want bold, I want real, because that kind of energy is contagious. It inspires others to rise too. When you live unapologetically, you give permission for others to do the same. So if you're sitting on a dream that feels too big, too different, too wild, good, that means you're on to something. If your path doesn't look like everyone else's, great, that means you're carving your own. And if people tell you to tone it down, fit in, be realistic, smile, and then do it your way anyway, you weren't born to blend in, you were born to stand out. And standing out means daring to be misunderstood, daring to be alone for a while, daring to do the work when there's no applause, until the world finally sees what you saw all along. So say no to normal. Say yes to you. Let's talk about fear, that feeling that creeps in before a big decision, that knot in your stomach when you're about to take a leap, that voice in your head whispering, what if you fail? We've all felt it. I've felt it more times than I can count. But here's what I've learned through every audition, every new role, every risk I've taken in rooms where I was the outsider. Fear isn't your enemy, fear is fuel. We've been taught to run from fear, to see it as weakness, but I see it as information. I see it as energy. Fear shows up when something matters, when something could change your life, when you're standing at the edge of growth. And you can either back away, or you can use that fear to ignite you. I've stood on stages in front of thousands. I've walked into auditions knowing I might be rejected. I've taken on roles in languages that weren't my own, cultures that weren't familiar, industries that didn't quite know what to make of me. And in every single one of those moments I was scared. Scared of being misunderstood, of being judged, of falling short. But I did it anyway, not because I was fearless, but because I had learned to let fear push me instead of paralyze me. Fear, when harnessed, becomes power. It sharpens your focus. It raises the stakes. It tells you this moment is important. And once you stop resisting that feeling and start leaning into it, you'll find out just how strong you really are. Some of the most defining moments of my life began with fear. I was 17 when I entered Miss India. I didn't think I belonged. I had no pageant experience, no idea how to walk in heels, no clue what I was doing. But something in me said, do it anyway. That fear turned into adrenaline. It made me practice harder, stand taller, speak louder, and that leap changed the entire course of my life. Years later, when I moved from India to the U.S. to break into Hollywood, I faced fear on a whole new level. I was stepping into an unfamiliar industry, far from home, with people who didn't know my work. I had to start over. That kind of fear, the fear of being invisible after years of being seen, can shake you. But it also forces you to find your grit, your fight. It fuels your hustle. You see, people assume courage means the absence of fear. That's not true. Real courage is feeling the fear, owning it, and doing the thing anyway. It's choosing to act, knowing you might fail, but trusting that you'll survive, that you'll learn, that you'll come back stronger. There were many times I failed, times I didn't get the part, times I was criticized, rejected, underestimated. And each time that fear of not being enough came knocking, but instead of running, I sat with it. I asked myself, what is this fear really telling me? What do I need to do to prove to myself, not anyone else, that I can do this? That mindset changed everything. It turned fear into fuel for preparation, for discipline, for relentless effort. Fear also has a way of revealing what you care about. If you weren't scared, it wouldn't mean anything. So when fear shows up, pay attention. Don't ignore it. Use it. Let it guide you toward the challenges worth pursuing. I think the problem is we've been told that fear is something to avoid, that we should only chase what feels comfortable, what feels safe. But nothing extraordinary comes from comfort. Growth is uncomfortable, change is uncomfortable, putting yourself out there is uncomfortable, and fear is part of that process. There's a quote I love, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And it's true. The roles that scared me the most, the ones I almost said no to, they're the ones that transformed me. The speeches that made my heart race, the ones where my voice shook, they're the ones that connected me with people around the world. The hardest choices, the biggest risks, they were always wrapped in fear, but also in potential. Don't wait to stop being afraid. That moment may never come. Instead, get used to walking with fear. Invite it along for the ride, but don't give it the wheel. You drive, you decide, and let that nervous energy remind you that you're alive, you're growing, you're stepping into something bigger than where you started. I'm not here today because I avoided fear. I'm here because I've walked through it over and over again. I've learned to respect it, but never let it stop me, and neither should you, so the next time fear shows up, and it will, don't see it as a red light. See it as a green one, a sign that you're stepping into something meaningful, a sign that you're not playing small, a sign that you're alive, because when you learn to use fear as fuel, there's nothing that can hold you back. Not doubt, not judgment, not failure. You become bold, unshakable, unstoppable. You become exactly who you were meant to be. Dreaming big is beautiful, it's powerful, it's necessary, but let me tell you something the world doesn't say enough. A dream is just the beginning. A dream without effort is a wish, and wishes don't build legacies. Dreams only matter when you're willing to outwork them, every single day, in every quiet moment when no one is watching, no one is cheering, and no one is handing you anything. That's where dreams become reality. I've always been a big dreamer. I didn't grow up thinking small. I imagined myself on stages, in films, in places far beyond where I came from. Not because it seemed possible at the time, but because it felt right. It felt like something inside me was calling for more, but dreaming big was never enough on its own. Every step I've taken, every role I've earned, every space I've claimed, it all came from relentless work. When I say outwork the dream, I mean out-hustle the version of yourself who simply wants. The world is full of people who want things, want fame, want success, want respect, but few are willing to grind for it. Few are willing to wake up early, stay up late, and do the boring, unglamorous tasks it takes to get there. But that's exactly what separates the people who talk from the people who do. Dreams are exciting. Work is exhausting, and yet it's the work that will get you there. It's the repetition, the preparation, the resilience. It's the long hours learning your craft when no one's asking you to. It's staying ready so you don't have to get ready. It's pushing even when you've been told no, so many times you've lost count. That's what outworking the dream means. People see the results, the films, the red carpets, the interviews, and they think that's the life. What they don't see is the behind, the scenes version, the 3 a.m. call times, the script rewrites, the endless travel, the pressure to prove yourself over and over again in every market, in every room, to people who didn't believe in you the first time. But that's what it takes, that's what I signed up for, because when you dream big, the price is high, and I was always ready to pay it. There were moments in my journey where I could have settled, where I could have stopped at good enough, but good enough was never the goal. I wanted greatness, I wanted impact, and that meant pushing harder, learning more, showing up better than I did yesterday, because big dreams demand big discipline. They demand that you show up even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when you feel like you're not moving fast enough. I've had to fight for roles, fight for visibility, fight for respect in industries that didn't always see me, but I kept showing up, kept working, kept proving, because your work speaks louder than any speech you can make. It builds credibility, it builds legacy, and when you outwork your dream, you don't just achieve it. You earn it. I'm not saying the journey is easy, it's not. It's lonely sometimes, it's frustrating. It tests your patience, your confidence, your endurance, but every ounce of energy you pour into your dream adds up. Every small choice to stay focused, to keep going, to say no to distractions matters. And here's the truth, your dream will evolve. What you thought was your ceiling will become your floor. That's the beauty of outworking your dream. You grow into a person who is capable of even bigger dreams. And then you start again. You dream bigger, and you outwork that dream too. There's no final destination, no finish line that says you've made it. That's a myth. The real prize is becoming the version of yourself who refuses to stop showing up. That kind of person is unstoppable. That kind of person is dangerous. In the best way, so dream big. Please dream so big it scares you. Let your vision be massive. Let it intimidate you a little, but don't stop there. Put your head down and do the work. The quiet, consistent, difficult work. Learn, fail, improve, repeat, and know that every drop of sweat is building something no one can take from you. You were not born to live a small life. You were not born to shrink your ambitions to fit someone else's expectations. You were born to create, to expand, to soar, and that begins with a dream, but it becomes real through work. So let them underestimate you. Let them call your dreams unrealistic. You don't need their permission. What you need is focus, fire, and follow through. You have everything it takes. You just have to give everything you've got. Dream big. Then outwork the dream until it's no longer a dream, but your new reality, and then dream even bigger. In a world obsessed with comparison, who's ahead, who's behind, who's trending, who's not, it's easy to lose yourself trying to measure up to someone else's idea of success. But here's the truth I've lived and learned. The only person you should ever be trying to beat is the version of you from yesterday. Become your own competition. Because when you make yourself the standard, you stop playing small. You start playing real. I've walked into rooms full of talent, power, fame. I've been compared, criticized, applauded, underestimated, and celebrated, all in the same breath. But I stopped chasing external validation a long time ago. Why? Because it's a moving target. 1 minute you're the hottest thing. The next minute, people are looking for the next you. If you build your worth on that, you'll crumble. But if you anchor yourself in your own progress, in becoming a little better every single day, you become unshakable. When I say become your own competition, I mean wake up and ask yourself, how can I be more focused than I was yesterday? How can I be stronger, sharper, kinder, smarter? That mindset removes the noise. It silences the distractions. It puts you in control of your own trajectory. I didn't build a cross-continental career by copying anyone. I didn't walk into Hollywood trying to be the next version of someone else. I walked in determined to be the first version of me, and that meant constantly evolving, constantly learning, constantly pushing my own limits. Because if you're not growing, you're just repeating, and repetition without growth is stagnation. There's freedom in becoming your own competition. You stop worrying about timelines that don't belong to you. You stop obsessing over who got what and when. You realize that your journey is yours, with its own pace, its own struggles, its own rewards. And when you focus on your lane, you start to win in a way that's personal, powerful, and deeply fulfilling. There's nothing wrong with admiring others. Let them inspire you. Let their success show you what's possible. But don't let it make you doubt yourself. The moment you start thinking someone else is high, real means you're behind. You've lost touch with your own story, and your story is everything. Here's what I know. You can't fake progress. You can't shortcut consistency. The work you put in today will speak for itself tomorrow. And no matter how far you think you have to go, the only real question is, are you better than you were yesterday? I keep score with myself. That's how I grow. I look at the areas where I struggled, where I hesitated, where I let fear win. And I make a decision to be stronger next time. That's the competition. That's the race. Not with someone else's life, but with my own untapped potential. Let's be honest, there will always be someone more experienced, more popular, more praised, but that's not a threat. That's just reality. And it doesn't define you. What defines you is how you show up, how you improve, how you decide to turn your weakness into power. That's the energy that can't be copied. That's the energy that lasts. And when you shift into that mindset, when you start seeing every challenge as a personal test, not a public race, you become unbeatable because now you're not chasing trends, you're not reacting to competition. You're building something real, you're building you. This mindset also demands accountability. No more excuses, no more waiting for motivation. When you're your own competition, you take responsibility for your energy, your discipline, your focus. You become the coach, the athlete, and the scoreboard all in one. That's how high performers live, that's how legacies are built, and let me be clear, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about choosing growth even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because the biggest wins come from the smallest, most consistent choices. Getting up when you'd rather sleep, practicing when you'd rather scroll. Saying no to distractions so you can say yes to greatness. That's not flashy. It doesn't always look cool, but it works, and over time it makes you powerful beyond belief. So don't wait for someone to compete with. Don't wait for someone to challenge you. Be your own challenger. Be the person who looks in the mirror and says, I'm proud of who I was, but I'm not done yet. You want to become unstoppable. Make it personal. Make it internal. Make it a game between you and the best version of you that hasn't shown up yet. And every day you get a little closer to her. More confident, more disciplined, more aligned. That's a win that no one can take from you. That's success on your own terms, so raise your standards, track your growth, celebrate your effort, and stop looking sideways. Your only real competition is who you were yesterday and tomorrow. Make sure that person doesn't stand a chance.